Greetings again, adventurers, and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy. In the last episode, we sailed from the port city of Provoca to the lovely realm of Elfheim, where the prince still sleeps in his castle, thanks to Astos's curse, which we are going to have to lift at some point. But we also paid a very brief visit to the Dwarven Cave, located to the west of Cornelia, and paid the denizens a visit, which was quite helpful. But well, we are now back here in the realm of Elfheim. But before we venture any further, as you can see, I've done a considerable amount of questing, and now we're pretty much level 9, which means that we are pretty much well-rounded for any sort of combat that comes our way. Also, we have some new weapons and armor, such as, you know, the sabers for Theo and myself. We already have a extra large knife or dagger for Ysir. We picked up another one along the way, which is currently in Theo's possession. We also acquired some iron armor and an iron shield for Theo, because I can only wear up to chainmail at this point. I cannot wear iron armor whatsoever. But to defend, well, to give Adin and Ysir a little bit of protection, I have gifted them with copper bracelets. And as far as the magic department is concerned, I already have, I've acquired Lightning 2. Adin has a full set of level 3 spells, Cure 2, Heal, and Harm 2, which I eventually decided to get because why not? And Ysir has Fire 2, and we have plenty of spell charges at our disposal since we're all now level 9. But the time has come for us to venture forth into the northwestern castle, so which, as fortune may have it, is just ahead, but it's being guarded by a lowly ogre, or a lowly ogre, I should say. Well, then again, there is nothing lowly about an old ogre that can deal 12 damage to me, so but there's no reason to use any spells in this particular encounter, and hopefully I will be, well, skipping through any battles that I don't need to, well, I will have to face because I need the experience and the gil. But there is the castle in question, so without further ado, let us venture inside. And the music is still fairly quaint, and it is fairly empty with bats hanging around. A spooky castle indeed. And it doesn't appear to be, well, we'll just check the perimeter first before we actually venture into any rooms. And well, there only appear to be 2 rooms in this entire castle, and it appears to have seen better days indeed. But there is this room here, which is also apparently locked by the Mystic Key, so it must be a treasure room. We're going to need to find that key, and also we're going to have a lot of rooms to open when we actually have it in our possession, and this bat is going to be very annoying. I wish you would kindly move out of my way. I'm very considerate of you there, Mr. Bat. But we want to go into the central chamber now. As soon as I can get past this other bat, I managed to do, which is fairly fortunate. And this appears to be the central chamber. Wonder if anyone is here, because after all, a ruined castle is ripe for would-be thieves, so let us enter. And it appears that this castle isn't completely abandoned. There was someone sitting in the throne room. But is he the king? Astos double-crossed us. Go south to the cave of Marsh to retrieve the crown, then bring it directly back to me. So it seems that the king of this castle had entered into some form of alliance with Astos, the Dark Elf, and things didn't quite work out. I take it he's wearing a makeshift crown on his head, given the fact that Astos stole the real one, which we're going to have to find in the Cave of Marsh, also better known as the Marsh Cave, which is going to be our next destination. But I will leave you here for the time being, because I don't want to burden you with too much of a journey, so I shall see you all in a few moments when we finally reach the, well, when we get as close to the Marsh Cave as we can. So, just one moment. Alright, I believe we are now venturing into a marshy area, which means that the Marsh Cave should be nearby. And there it is. Unfortunately, the way is very much perilous, because we have, not only do we have a pair of Greatons fighting us, we also have two green wolves, but they're not green wolves, they're werewolves, and we're going to have to take care of them ASAP, because those wolves can and will poison us if given the chance. There are a lot of enemies that can actually poison you in this region, which is never a good sign. I don't really want to use any of my spells as of yet, because yeah, with no real way to actually I want Theo to deal with the wolves. The only way to recharge spells is by resting in a house or an inn. There is literally no other way of getting those spell charges back once you've used them. The goblins are no match for us, or the imps, I should say. Which means that all we have to do deal with in this instance are these cursed werewolves. Now you might think that we might end up fighting a weapon that might, or finding a weapon that might be effective against werewolves or were-monsters, but they exist, but they don't work. At least not in the way that they were intended to. But now we can venture into the Marsh Cave, and we have numerous paths that we can venture through, and we have very epic dungeon music. Very intense dungeon music at that. We'll be, well, I'll just show you the northern path here. And we have some new enemies, shadows, which can inflict darkness ailment, which, as I believe I mentioned a while ago, does absolutely nothing whatsoever. They can still deal damage though, because they do physical attacks. But as you can see, Yuzir can actually still hit enemies, so the darkness ailment is not that much of a problem. Poison, however, and paralyzation and petrification, those hurt. Those are pretty notorious. Still though, still don't want to actually use any spells, just in case, even though we have quite a considerable, we can use quite a few level 1 spells, is what I was trying to say there. And more gil and experience, which is always handy. Maybe we might run into some more monsters along the way. You never know. You never know. Ooh, this is an enemy that we might have to use a spell or two against, because this is a muck, and there are other creatures like it, called scum, and I think they're immune to physical, they're immune, well, pretty defended against melee damage, so we're going to have to use spells to deal with it, although Adam actually dealt some... oh no, the muck wasn't as potent against melee attacks as I thought. Then again, Theo is a fairly competent fighter. And some more shadows. Curses. Curses, curses, curses. But, we won't deal with these enemies because they're not that much of a threat, even though we probably won't be able to run away. Not that we have any real need to run away from shadows, but, I digress. Now, this is one of several chambers of the Marsh Cave, and I should tell you right now that I've already examined these three particular chambers, the two in the top right and left hand corners, and the one in the lower left corner. I've already ventured through those, and unfortunately I had a bit of trouble editing the footage, so we will not go that way, because we already have pilfered what we need from there. Some gil and the dagger. Just a few mucks along the way, nothing really to worry about, so we'll just head back to the stairs and then make our way down southwards. We don't want to go to the east passageway because that doesn't really lead anywhere. Just a couple of shadows interrupting my path there, but and some more shadows, annoyingly, but now make our way down to this area here, which contains the contains a conveniently placed ladder down to the other chamber on the second level. Now, be careful here because there are a lot of enemies that we can face around here. We want to proceed as quickly as possible because the rooms in here are there is nothing in them whatsoever. And these are what I was talking about, adventurers. These are scum, the infamous cousin to muck. And scum are the creatures that pretty much are resilient against physical damage, so I'm probably going to have to break out the spells here, and I'm going to have Adam heal me just a slight bit, because I really should have a bit more health than that, even though I'm not really dying or anything. But also have Yazir cast Fire too, just in case, which will probably do more damage, and will save me a lightning too along the way. And I will have to cure Theo in this instance, because yeah, his poison is still in effect, and as a result, anyone with status effects that are permanent, like poison, will actually be shifted from their position in the party. We don't want that to happen. Now, of course, once Adin actually acquires the pure spell, we'll still need the pure potions, but being able to not use potions is always a good thing, even though our charges are very much limited. Now we definitely do not want Yazir in the front row, because he is not a frontline fighter. Away we go to this chamber here, which doesn't contain any treasure. Instead it is a passage to the third level of the Marsh Cave. Interestingly enough, those 3 chambers do contain treasure chests, but if you left the treasure in the other room on the second level, you would find them in those treasure chests instead. So along we go, out of my way bat, to a room over here, and more werewolves. Joy. They do give a lot of golden gil and experience, but being poisoned by them isn't really, is never really a good thing. Now we want to avoid the 2 chambers ahead and move on to the 4th one at the end of the hall for now, just so we don't have to go back for it later. Over here, and more wolves. Yeah, don't really want to fight them, but what we found in here is 295 gil, just short of 300. Oh well, never mind. And we want to actually leave the 2 chambers down there, and more mucks. I'll actually show the enemies that I encounter in the random battles rather than actually showing the entire encounters, otherwise that would be annoying. Now, I believe we want to go down here first, into this chamber. I think that's... no, yeah, as it were. And we got attacked by scum. That's not very good. Yeah, monster, it's a percentage that, and Ysir got poisoned. It's definitely a percentage of who gets the first strike, and we did not luck out in that instance, unfortunately. Use a pure potion on Ysir here. I'm starting to run out on those, but I think I wanted to go in here because this contains 2 treasure chests, iron armor, and a house, which is always good. I believe that means that's the first house that I've gotten, and these cost 3,000 gil to buy, which is, I also got some cabins as well, since they're only 250. I believe I want to go into this chamber here to get this treasure. Another copper bullet bracelet, which we will sell at this instance. Now, I want to go into the 2 middle chambers here, as soon as I stop being attacked by these cursed scum. Oh, you just had poison both of us, didn't you? That's truly annoying. Just get my party back in order. As I was saying, I want to go into the 2 middle chambers down here. I'll ignore that one first and head on to this one to get this treasure. And more muck. You know what? Have at thee. I won't say no to an easy challenge. And Ysir just took a beating there from the mucks, which is ooh, wow. And I just took a beating there, but they will get a beating in kind from all 4 of us. I'm sure we will prevail. And 1 more for good measure, 2 more for good measure, there we go. And some more gold, gil and experience, and some more gil. Now we now for spoils, the final chamber over there. Oh, but it is guarded. Oh, is this chamber guarded? Guarded by a bunch of wizards. Now, interestingly enough, these wizards actually don't use spells whatsoever. They're only apprentice wizards, but they do, oh wow, they do a significant amount of damage. That's quite a lot of melee damage there for wizards. Going to need a cure 2 from Adden there. That's 1 down, and take care of the rest. But I need that healing. I desperately need that healing, as does Yazir at some point. And maybe one more fire too for good measure. Just so that we are in fact formidable in the arcane arts of magic ourselves. 207 experience and 900 gil. That is pretty impressive. But what was so important in this room, guarded by statues everywhere? Well, the item that we came here to collect, of course. In the treasure box we found the crown. The crown that we need to deliver back to the ruler of the Northwest Castle, who was betrayed by the nefarious Dark Elf Astos. And that is pretty much all we need to do here in the Marsh Cave. There are actually 4 rooms beneath the rooms above us, or north of us, but those rooms are all actually locked by the Mystic Key, so we're going to have to come back to them at some point in the near future. But when we return, adventurers, I shall see you back at the spooky, not quite so abandoned castle, with the crown in hand. As always, until next we meet.